Hello, this is Daniel Bosmore, and welcome to the Loving Presence podcast. And today we're gonna talk about the topic of integrating the polarities inside of us, which is a continuation of us speaking about parts work in a way and the understanding of parts work, as well as going beyond parts work into the loving presence that is who we truly are. And in polarity, I'm going to speak about us having two different polarities. And this whole manifested creation is made of polarities like hot and cold, night and day, light and dark, sweet and salty, etc. And then inside of us, we have these polarities. And we clearly know about the masculine feminine polarity, the proton and electrons. And different polarities are order and chaos, movement and space, or movement and stillness, um, creating, doing, active, passivity, letting go, being, giving, receiving, logical thinking, intuitive thinking. All these polarities we have inside of us, and here we are working to balance them because there's a war inside of us for most of us humans. There are outer wars. The outer wars are reflections of the inner war because we are a microcosmos of the universe, of the macrocosmos of creation. Inside of us is this war, and it's a war between the polarities, a war between the different parts, polarities. You can call it the masculine, feminine, different ways to think about it. And Carl Jung has this interesting story of meeting his inner feminine and finding out she was blind in the darkness because she couldn't see his intuition. She represented couldn't see because he preferenced logical thinking, completely repressed her. So his intuition was repressed, suddenly found in the basement of his mind, of his unconscious, the feminine blind. Working with her, being with her, ended up that she could see again through awareness, for bringing presence to that phenomena. Because really the key is bringing presence. And so we have these polarities inside of us. We can notice in situations in life, one side of us wants to do one thing, the other wants to do the other, don't know what to do, conflicted, or maybe we haven't noticed, but if we really think about it, we jump around between these different polarities. And the temptation is to try and choose one. And often people kind of go with one polarity and stick to that, which causes a lot of havoc in their internal lives, a lot of suffering in their external life, because internally, if we identify with one side of the polarity inside of us too strongly on the expense of the other, what's going to happen is that we're going to be cut in half inside of us. And there's always going to be this inner fight. And, a lot of us, before doing the work, one side of the polarity is so repressed that we don't even know it exists in us. For example, somebody who's very logical thinking oriented, mind oriented, doesn't know his intuition side. And that's going to cause problems in his life. Same way the other way around. Somebody may be very impulsive, emotionally reactive, doesn't always logical, more linear thinking side is going to have issues. If it's really repressed, it can manifest as physical illness, and your life could present issues in relationships, in work, health, because of these different parts of us repressed and none integrated. And today in this world, speaking of, there's this term, the poly crisis, which is really we can see the divide both between nations and families and people, also in nations and families and people growing. People becoming more and more, your nervous system is not regulated, they're not present, and they become more and more clinging to one side of the polarity. And they kind of grasp at one side and they become very extremists. They become extremists fighting the other side. And the Buddha has this kind of saying of like, people who cling too strongly to their views go around the world unknowing others. Yeah. Yeah. Clinging too much to a point of view is big source of suffering for ourselves, causes disharmony with other people. So we can see that in the world, more people, extreme left, extreme right, taking on very extreme polarities, less and less people knowing how to find the middle way. And I think of the late Thich Nhat Hanh, great Buddhist teacher's quote of, the world needs more people who don't take a side. That is the middle way. And of course, the Buddha really spoke about the middle way. And he gave this analogy: if you take a string, let's say you play the guitar, and if it's too stretched, it's not going to make a sound. If it's too loose, it's not going to make a sound. It needs to be in the middle. That's the middle way. And Lao Tzu wrote the Tao Te Ching, speaks about living in the way, living in the Tao, speaking of it as being in the center of the circle. It's like the center of the circle is the circle of life, living at the middle. And the inner work, which is the inner work of presence, is really finding our ground, the middle way between the sides. And it's not like we can say, oh, I'm there, as far as I know, and then it's never going to change. It's because life is constantly moving, changing. It's about finding our balance at each step. That happens by being present and aware. Why? Because awareness or presence is non-dual. We talk about in the manifested, there's duality, right, left, masculine, feminine. Beyond that is presence, or the witness, consciousness, is non-dual, meaning it's beyond the polarities. And we need something beyond the polarities in order to unify them. And that is the non-dual consciousness. That's the only unifying force. So how to find the middle way? We can't analyze it. In fact, analyzing the middle way is a very logic-oriented, masculine way of trying to find the middle way, which the feminine side of us would say, no, this is too structured for me. Give me some movement. The only way is to go beyond the polarities, which is a recognizing awareness, presence, and then bringing presence to the different polarities inside of us. The more we do that, the more something else comes, which is, Jung called it the transcendent function, which is something that is the middle way beyond the two polarities. Right? For those who know about the Kabbalah, they also have this map, tree of life. And in the Kabbalic mysticism, the tree of life is split into these polarities. There's the crown, sphera, right? similar to the crown chakra, and then from there the polarities start to split, like the DNA, how the DNA is kind of splits like that, all the way to the root chakra. It's called Malchut. Also one, not split, unified. And then there's the center line, which is actually called in the Kabbalah Israel, because Israel really means right or straight with God. So that center line is the middle way, straight with God. It's the center line of light moving through us. In the Hindu traditions, they speak of the Kundalini energy moving through the center line. Okay, so all these traditions are referencing finding the middle way, living through the middle way. Doing that happens through presence. If we do that inside, we can do it outside. Okay, for me, it's much less about learning, communication techniques with other people and conflict resolution techniques. That's all great, but to me, that's like uh, can only accompany really the essence, which is bringing the quality of non-dual presence into our inner world, and therefore, because the inner and outer simultaneously arise, bringing that to the so-called outer world present. And in my own journey, I see more and more. I find different places in my life and in my psyche, the polarities are split. The polarities are fighting each other. So you can think of it, the masculine and feminine fighting each other. More order, more structure, or no, more fluidity, more spontaneity, more movement. And I can see the conflict, and I can see where I unconsciously identified with one side of the conflict. Always causes issues, but that's also okay, because that's how we learn, is through that, for something not feeling right, and we observe, it gets clear. Observing the two qualities in me, the more I hold both, that's where the middle way is found. And they kind of make peace in a way. I'm like aware of both sides. So I am awareness, I am presence. The light of presence comes into both sides. It's like the light from the unmanifested reaches the manifested, informs both sides and enlightens them. And then they kind of find peace and harmony and become one inside. You can think of the yin and yang, how the light and dark, or the polarities in the yin and yang, suddenly merge and become one inside the other. This is that. It's through the quality of presence that they become one. And then light centers around the body, instead of light being too much to the left or the right, or not being there at all. It's like in the center line. And then there's a natural movement arising from that, an intelligent movement that is non-dual, that is harmonious. Harmonious means living harmoniously, means living from the middle way, because it is informed by both sides. And it can move, and maybe sometimes it could be moving between the sides and awareness. Okay, now I'm going to bring more the masculine. Now I'm going to bring more the feminine. Now I'm going to bring structure. Now I'm going to bring movement. Okay, and playing with them. This is going beyond the polarities. And this is really healing the war inside of us. It's the war between polarities, always. The war between polarities. We must find first the awareness, the witness consciousness that we truly are, presence. And only through that, by finding the transcendent, non-dual aspect of our being, which is not just, so our being is, it's like the being, really. It's not belongs to any person. Only through that, then bringing that quality into the war inside the mind, that's where the unification happens. And it's over time, and it's like a process of digestion or cooking energies, like the polarities cook till they unify. And it's iterations of that, many iterations of that. And then we become more and more refined vehicle of straight light coming down through the body, and up through the center line, and we become an angel in the world. We become an embodiment of light, an embodiment of the non-dual presence, embodied as an expression of wisdom, compassion, unconditional love, moving through our lives. It's a beautiful, beautiful journey. Must happen through listening to all parts of us, being not taking a side, but watching everything is the key. And it will mirror externally the same. So when we feel some other expression that is external, triggering something in us, that means that the same conflicts exist in us. It's always a conflict of polarities, not being at peace with each other. Then it's an invitation to observe, present, unify. It's a beautiful process. I explain it in a very clean way. It's not that clean, and it's a messy. In many ways, it's messy. In many ways, you'll find yourself moving through the edges. Really helps having a guide in that. Really helps not doing it alone. But it's really beautiful, and it's really, to me, the only game in town in life. This is conscious evolution in life. So I hope this was helpful. Making peace between the polarities. I think this is episode 5 of the Loving Presence podcast. Hope it was helpful. You're welcome to subscribe and share. The podcast will soon be up on Spotify, so you can also listen there. And peace be with you. Thank you.